All right, so let's go through this Codecademy course on JavaScript. What is JavaScript? Last year, millions of learners from our community started with JavaScript. Why? JavaScript is primarily known as the language of most modern web browsers, and its early quirks gave it a bit of a bad reputation. However, the language has continued to evolve and improve. JavaScript is a powerful, flexible, and fast programming language now used for increasingly complex web development and beyond. Since JavaScript remains at the core of web development, it's often the first language learned by self-taught coders eager to learn and build. We're excited for what you'll be able to create with the JavaScript foundation you gain here. JavaScript powers the dynamic behavior on most websites, including this one, so including Codecademy. In this lesson, you will learn introductory coding concepts, including data types and built-in objects, essential knowledge for all aspiring developers. Make sure to take notes and pace yourself. This foundation will set you up for understanding the more complex concepts you'll encounter later on. Instructions. Move to the next exercise when you're ready to begin, and there's a concept review and community forum. We'll go to the next exercise. The console is a panel that displays important messages, like errors, for developers. Much of the work the computer does with our code is invisible to us by default. If we want to see things appear on our screen, we can print or log to our console directly. In JavaScript, the console keyword refers to an object, a collection of data and actions that we can use in our code. Keywords are words that are built into the JavaScript language, so the computer will recognize them and treats them specially. One action or method that is built into the console object is the log method. So it's the .log method. When we write console.log, what we put inside the parentheses will get printed or logged to the console. It's going to be very useful for us to print values to the console so we can see the work that we're doing. Console.log5, this example logs 5 to the console. The semicolon denotes the end of the line or statement. Although in JavaScript, your code will usually run as intended without a semicolon. We recommend learning the habit of ending each statement with a semicolon so you never leave one out in the few instances where they are required. You'll see later on that we can use console.log to print different kinds of data. Use console.log, these are the instructions now. Use the console.log code in the editor to log your age to the console. No problem. Console.log, let's say I'm 99. And then we have to hit run. Run your code when you're ready to see the result. And there I am, 99 years old. Perfect. On the next line, log a number representing the number of weeks you've been programming. All right, console.log. Let's do some quick math. So I'm 99 and I've been programming forever. So we'll do 99 times 52. And there we are. I've been programming since I was born and I'm 99 years old. We got that one all finished. All right, so the next lesson is comments. Programming is often highly collaborative. In addition, our own code can quickly become difficult to understand when we return to it, sometimes only an hour later. For these reasons, it's often useful to leave notes in our code for other developers or ourselves. As we write JavaScript, we can write comments in our code that the computer will ignore as our program runs. These comments exist just for human readers. Comments can explain what the code is doing, leave instructions for developers using the code, or add any other useful annotations. There are two types of code comments in JavaScript. A single line comment will comment out a single line and is denoted by 2 forward slashes preceding it. So 2 slashes prints 5 to the console, console.log 5, and you could also see a single line comment under this. You can actually do the 2 slashes after you console log on the same line. That would be okay too. Now, a multi-line comment will comment out multiple lines as denoted with a /* to begin the comment and a * / to end the comment. Okay, so what we have here is /*, lines and lines of commenting, and then a star, // and that's all a comment. You can also use this syntax to comment something out in the middle of a line of code. It says console.log, and then ignored is in a comment and the number 5 isn't, so the number 5 gets printed. Let's practice adding some code comments. To the right, we provided you with the beginning of the book Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. On line 1, write a single line comment that says opening line. And then we'll run. That seemed to have worked. Single line comments are great for adding context to your code. Multi-line comments are often best suited to prevent a block of code from running. However, both types of comments can be used for either purpose. Use a multi-line comment so that the bottom 6 console.log statements are all commented out. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my bad, 5, 6. Okay, so it's going to start from here, / and our asterisk, and then we need to end it with our asterisk / and run that. All right, we're done with that lesson. We'll move to the next one. Data types. Data types are classifications we give to the different kinds of data that we use in programming. In JavaScript, there are 7 fundamental data types. Number. Any number, including numbers with decimals. String. Any group of characters on your keyboard, letter, number, spaces, symbols, etc., surrounded by single quotes or double quotes. Though we prefer single quotes, some people like to think of string as a fancy word for text. Boolean. This data type only has 2 possible values, either true or false without quotes. It's helpful to think of Booleans as on and off switches, or the answer is yes or no. Null. The data type represents the intentional absence of a value and is represented by the keyword null without quotes. Undefined. This data type denotes the keyword undefined without quotes. It also represents the absence of a value through it and has a different use than no. Symbol. A newer feature to the language. Symbols are unique identifiers useful in more complex coding. No need to worry about these for now. And object. Collections of related data. The first 6 of those types are considered primitive data types. They are the most basic data types in the language. Objects are more complex, and you'll learn much more about them as you progress through JavaScript. At first, 7 types might not seem like that many, but soon you'll observe the world opens with possibilities once you start leveraging each one. As you learn more about objects, you'll be able to create complex collections of data. But before we do that, let's get comfortable with strings and numbers. Console.log, in quotes, location of Codecademy headquarters, 575 Broadway, New York City, console.log 40. In the example above, we printed a string. Our string isn't just a single word. It includes both capital and lowercase letters, spaces, and punctuation. Next, we printed the number 40, and notice we did not use quotes. On line 1, log the string JavaScript. So console.log, and they want JavaScript with a capital J and a capital S. Great. On line 2, log the number 2011. So console.log 2011, and we'll run that. That seems to work too. On line 3, print woohoo, I love to code, #Codecademy. Let's do that. That was a string saying woohoo, I love to code. And exclamation point, #Codecademy. And let's run that. That worked as well. On line 4, print the number 20.49 to the console. Okay. 20.49. Looks like we were successful with that. Let's move on to the next one. Arithmetic operators. Basic arithmetic often comes in handy when programming. An operator is a character that performs a task in our code. JavaScript has several built-in arithmetic operators. I think that's a typo. JavaScript has several built-in arithmetic operators that allow us to perform mathematical complications on numbers. These include the following operators and their corresponding symbols: add plus sign, subtract dash, multiply asterisk, divide forward slash, remainder percent sign. I think the percent sign has another name too. It's not coming to me right now. The first four work how you might guess. And it just shows a bunch of examples of adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, which are all very plain, just console.log, and in the parentheses, 3 plus 4, 5 minus 1, 5 times 2, and so on. Note that when we console.log, the computer will evaluate the expression inside the parentheses and print the result to the console. If we wanted to print the characters 3 plus 4, we could wrap them in quotes and print them as a string. Console.log, now they're showing the remainder operator. So that's the one that's the percentage sign. And there's the name for it, the modulo. The remainder operator, sometimes called modulo, returns the number that remains after the right-hand number divides into the left-hand number as many times as it evenly can. 11, remainder operator 3 equals 2 because 3 fits into 11 3 times, leaving 2 as its remainder. Inside of a console.log, add 3.5 to your age. Okay. Console.log, my age is 99 plus 3.5. Let's run that. 102.5. Perfect. On a new line, write console.log. Console.log and subtract, take the current year, that's 2020, subtract 1969, that's 51. So this is how many years it's been since the 1969 moon landing, 51. Create another console.log inside the parentheses, divide 65 by 240. 65 wants to be divided by 240. Run that. Create one last console.log. Inside the parentheses, multiply 0.2708 by 100. .2708 times 100. That's the percent of the sun that is made up of helium. Assuming we could stand on the sun, we'd all
sound like chipmunks.
27.08% of the sun is helium. String concatenation. Operators aren't just for numbers. When a plus operator is used on two strings, it appends the right string to the left string. And they have a few examples of that. This process of appending one string to another is called concatenation. Notice in the third example we had to make sure it included a space at the end of the first string. The computer will join the strings exactly, so we needed to make sure to include the space we wanted between the two strings. Just like with regular math, we can combine or chain our operators to get a final result. So you can add more than one thing together. Inside of a console.log, inside of a console.log statement, concatenate the two strings hello and world. Note, you should concatenate the two strings exactly without introducing any additional characters. So no space here, just hello, make sure it's capital, plus, and world, the capital W, and we'll run that. And that worked. We left off the space this time. Create a second console.log statement in which you concatenate hello and world, but this time make sure to also include a space between the two words. So from what I saw, there's two ways to do that seem passable for what they're asking. So that, I get one more plus. That should work because we're adding a space right here in the middle, and it should also work just by putting a space right here. So let's try the space in the middle first. See if that's what they want. That's what they want. Great. Properties. When you introduce a new piece of data into a JavaScript program, the browser saves it as an instance of the data type. Every string instance has a property called length that stores the number of characters in that string. You can retrieve property information by appending the string with a period and the property name. The example is console.log hello.length. And it prints 5 because that's how many letters are in hello. The dot is another operator. We call it the dot operator. In the example above, the value saved to the length property is retrieved from the instance of the string. Hello, the program prints 5 to the console because hello has 5 characters in it. Use the dot length property to log the number of characters in the following string to the console. So console.log. And I think I'm just going to copy it because I don't want to get a letter wrong here. We have that, and then we wanted to do the length of this. So dot length. Let's run that. Perfect. And that's this whole lesson. Okay, to the next one. Methods. Remember that methods are actions we can perform. JavaScript provides a number of string methods. We call or use these methods by appending an instance with a period, the dot operator, the name of the method, opening and closing parentheses. Example string in a string dot method name as a function. Does that syntax look a little familiar? When we use console.log, we are calling the .log method on the console object. Let's see console.log and some real string methods in action. And they have some examples where they are doing two uppercase and starts with uppercase H. Okay, one of them, two uppercase, is going to make the string preceding it have an uppercase letters, all of them, and starts with an uppercase H is going to print back a true or false statement, it looks like. Let's look at each of these lines above. On the first line, the uppercase method, toUppercase method is called on the string instance hello. The result is logged to the console. This method returns a string in all capital letters saying hello. On the second line, the .starts with method is called on the string instance hey. This method also accepts the character H as an input or argument. Between the parentheses, since the string hey does start with the letter H, the method returns a Boolean true. And that's just about what we said. You could find a list of built-in string methods in this JavaScript documentation. Great. So use the .toUppercase method to log the string Codecademy. Okay, so that first one, .toUppercase and function. Let's run that. Oh, something broke. Oh, I put that in the wrong spot. Let's grab that real quick. Try that again. All right, that works, that's right. In the second console.log statement in app.js, we have a string remove whitespace, which has spaces before and after the words remove whitespace. If we browse the JavaScript string documentation, we find several built-in string methods that each accomplish a different goal. The one method that seems ideal for us is trim. Use this method to remove the white space at the beginning and end of the string in the second console.log argument. So right here, .trim as a function, and let's run it. That's what they want. Great. Let's move over to the next lesson. Built-in objects. In addition to console, there are other objects built into JavaScript. Down the line, you'll build your own objects, but for now, these built-in objects are full of useful functionality. For example, if you wanted to perform more complex mathematical operations than arithmetic, JavaScript has the built-in math object. The great thing about objects is that they have methods. Let's call the .random method from the built-in math object. Console.log, and then math.random, and it prints a number between 0 and 1. In the example above, we called the .random method by appending the object name with the dot operator, the name of the method, and opening and closing the parentheses. This method returns a random number between 0 inclusive and 1 exclusive. So it can be a 0, but it cannot be a 1. To generate a random number between 0 and 50, we could multiply the results by 50, like so, and they just did math.rand times 50. The example above will likely evaluate to a decimal to ensure the answer is a whole number. We can take advantage of another useful math method called math.floor. It takes a decimal number and rounds down to the nearest whole number. You can use math.floor to round down a random number like this. Math.floor, and then in there math.random multiplied by 50. In this case, math.random generates a random number between 0 and 1. Then we multiply that number by 50. So now we have a number between 0 and 50. Then math.floor rounds the number down to the nearest whole number. If you wanted to see the number printed to the terminal, you would still need to use a console.log statement. And they have the console.log statement set here with the math.floor, math.random. To see all the properties and methods on the math object, you can take a look at the documentation. Instructions. Inside of a console.log, create a random number with math.random, then multiply it by 100. Okay, console.log, and they said random number with math.random as a function. And then we'll multiply that by 50. Oh, they said 100. Multiply that by 100. Sounds good to me. Let's run that. And it did work. Now use math.floor to make the output a whole number. So inside the console.log, you wrote in the last step, put the existing math.random times 100 code inside the parentheses of math.floor. So what we'd want to do, I'll get a little space, math.and floor like that. And we want all of this within math.floor, but we also want console log to finish outside of math.floor. So this is actually console log is your last one, then math.floor, and then you have your random. So let's run that and see if that works. It does, and we got my age, 99, perfect. Find the method on the JavaScript math object that returns the smallest integer greater than or equal to a decimal number. Use this method with the number 53.8, log the answer to the console. So I'm looking for the JavaScript math object that returns the smallest integer greater than or equal to a decimal number. So we could take a look at the math object and see if we could find that. I think they're looking for math.ceil here. Let's take a look at that. 43.8. So we'll console.log math.ceil, and there we'll put in the 43.8 and run it. Oh, I did ceil wrong. There we go, just a little typo. That's what they were looking for, math.ceil. Use the JavaScript documentation to find a method on the built-in number object that checks if the number is an integer. Put the number 2017 in the parentheses of the method and use console.log to print the results. Okay, let's take a look at that. And what I find here in the static methods, we have number.isInteger, and we could use that. Let's try that out. So we'll console log number.isInteger, and then we need to pass in 2017. See what happens there. And it comes back as true. So let's go to the next one. Review. Let's take one more glance at the concepts we just learned. Data is printed or logged to the console, a panel that displays messages with console.log. We can write single line comments with 2 forward slashes and multi-line comments with *****. There are 7 fundamental data types in JavaScript: strings, numbers, booleans, null, undefined, symbol, and object. Numbers are any number without quotes, 23.8879 as an example. Strings are characters wrapped in a single or double quotes. Sample string wrapped in a single quotes is the example. The built-in arithmetic operators include plus, minus, multiply, divide, and the modulo. Objects, including instances of data types, can have properties, stored information. The properties are denoted with a dot, the period, after the name of the object. For example, hello.length, and the hello is a string. Objects, including instances of data types, can have methods which perform actions. Methods are called by appending the object or instance with a period, the method name, and parentheses. For example, hello as a string, dot to uppercase, and then the parentheses making hello uppercase. We can access properties and methods by using the dot operator. Built-in objects, including math, are collections of methods and properties that JavaScript provides. All right, so we got through this one. Let's continue this. We'll go on and try to finish all of JavaScript.